Hello Stratters, Bobgar here for $10 deck. This week we're looking at a blue-white flicker deck in Modern. Took me a little while to decide what card I wanted to use for the kind of highlight card for this deck. I chose Panharmonicon just because it's the most unique effect. It was actually kind of a late add to the deck, but it obviously gives the deck a lot of power in the late game, and it's super sweet and super spicy. It's a flicker deck, so obviously we need some flicker effects. We're running 2 Mistmeadow Witch. Mistmeadow Witch is a little bit like Eldrazi Displacer, but a little bit worse. It only costs 2 mana to play, which is nice, but it costs 4 mana for its activated ability, and obviously we can't use Eldrazi mana for that. It does have some other differences, though. The creatures you flicker don't come back till end of turn, and they come back untapped. We're also running 4 Eerie Interlude. Eerie Interlude is really nice. It's an instant that you can blink any number of creatures on your side, so you can basically blink your whole team. That gets us a lot of value in a lot of cases. We're also running 2 Momentary Blink to round things out. It's basically our cheapest flicker effect, and its flashback becomes relevant if we can't stick a Mistmeadow Witch. And then obviously we need some flicker targets, so for those we're running 2 Soul Warden. I was not that excited about running Soul Warden, but the deck really needs some 1-drops, some early game stuff to keep you in the game against aggro, and drawing life is exactly where we want to be. Also running 4 Thraben Inspectors and 4 Wall of Omens. Those kind of serve a similar purpose. They both have relatively big butts, a 1/2 and a 0/4, and they both draw us cards. Obviously, Wall of Omens gives it to us immediately, and Thraben Inspector gives it to us once we cash in its clue. We're also running 4 Reflector Mage. This is part of the reason I chose to run the deck this week. I wanted to run some banned cards, and Reflector Mage is very cool. He helps us in the mid-game keep the board clear, keep our opponent from damaging us a lot as we kind of build up our massive value engine, and it can also swing in for 2 damage when needed. So super cool, good flicker target. I like Reflector Mage a lot in the deck. And then we have a few bigger flicker targets. So we're running 3 Mulldrifter. This gets us cards and puts down threats in the air. They can swing in against planeswalkers. They can just get damage over time. You can also cast it for Evoke in a pinch if you're not drawing the lands you need early, or if you just need something else early. Riftwing Cloudskate, obviously you can suspend this turn 2, or just hard cast it later in the game. When it comes in, you can bounce anything to your hand or your opponent's hand, I guess. But yeah, it's especially good to get things that Reflector Mage can't hit, like artifacts and enchantments and lands. You can just bounce all those back to your opponent's hand, and if you get a Panharmonicon and a Mistmeadow Witch or something like that to blink it a bunch, you can put your opponent very far back. In fact, you could slowly just return all the lands to their hand, because you could obviously do 2 a turn. Then finally, 3 Frost Titan to round things out. Basically, we just needed a win condition, and as it is, it was going to take a long time, to win the game with a bunch of 1/1s and 2/2s and 2/3s and things like that. So this gives us our beef. It's also super effective just to tap our opponent's lands, tap our opponent's blockers. It's a great flicker target, and also just gets the trigger when attacking. So it's one of the best finishers, and it's also fortunately not a very expensive card. Then finally, we're running 1 sick combo. Sick combo! I was really excited about this combo. I had a few more Magus of the Discs in earlier, but he's not that good, so I decided to lower it down to 2. But basically, you can do this neat thing with Magus of the Disc. You can play him on 4. You can't set him off right away. He comes into play tapped, which is a little bad for you because you are kind of bad against aggro. But the next turn, when you untap him, you can wait your opponent's turn if you want. You can do it at instant speed, but you can basically you have to make sure you're holding priority, which is control on Magic Online, by the way. So you have to hold control while you do this. You set off his activated ability, and then while you still have priority, you use Eerie Interlude to blink all your creatures, and then it ends up being a one-sided wipe where you destroy all their creatures, your creatures leave the battlefield, and then come back in. So you not only get the normal value from Eerie Interlude, where you get all the end of the battlefield triggers, you also get this additional value of dodging your Wrath of God, basically, making it one-sided. The one disadvantage is Magus of the Disc does hit clue tokens, and it does hit Panharmonicon, so it does set you back a little bit, but still, in a lot of cases, this just puts you really far ahead if your opponent has a big board. And so the last thing is lands. We're running 23 lands. We're running 1 more Plains than Islands. That's just because all of our 1-drops require plains, and our best 2-drop requires a plains. Their best 2-drop is Wall of Omens. And then I was having a very hard time finding a cheap dual land in white-blue, and we really needed a dual land that was relatively cheap to make this deck work. But fortunately, I found Nimbus Maze, and Nimbus Maze is awesome in this deck. Because we're running so many basics, you're basically always going to be able to tap it for the color you need. We don't have that many double color cards. We have a couple effects that require one of either color, so it helps for that too. And yeah, late game, this thing is the best land in your deck anyway. Finally, our sideboard. In our sideboard, we run 3 Ghost Quarters. That's pretty typical. 3 Tormod's Crypt, again, pretty typical. 3 Fragmentize, pretty typical. Artifact and enchantment removal. Fortunately, it's only sorcery speed, but still pretty good. Gets anyone with converted mana cost 4 or less, and it's only 1 mana. 3 Negates. I figured Counterspell Wars could be a problem, and just decks that run a lot of Planeswalkers very well might be a problem. And 3 Fiend Hunters. Fiend Hunter works really, really well with the end of the battlefield effect and with Panharmonicon. You can basically exile a creature permanently pretty easily if you flicker this guy when he's coming into play. Yeah, he's just very strong. The only problem is he only has 3 toughness. He dies to a lot of things, so in a lot of cases, he just doesn't actually do anything. You pay him for 3 mana, you remove their creature from the game, they bolt him, their creature comes right back, and you're down 3 mana. So I felt like he was better in the sideboard than he was in the main board, and Reflector Mage was a better main board pick, because if Reflector Mage gets bolted, he already got his enter the battlefield ability. You know, he already did his thing. He doesn't need to be as reliant about staying on the board. So that's the deck. I hope you like it. I'm gonna play some games with it, and I hope you enjoy them. Thank you guys very much. I'll see you later. Hey Stratters, Bobgar here, playing some $10 white blue flicker in Modern. We're gonna see how this goes. This hand is not super good. I do have a turn 2 play. I potentially have a turn 3 and 4 play, assuming that things work out correctly. I'm gonna keep it, but I'm not super happy about it. I think because I'm on the draw, I'll probably draw a land or a 2-drop or something by the time that comes around. Hopefully we're not against something super aggro, because this hand will die to an aggro deck for sure. And it looks like we're against some kind of Tron deck, which is, I don't know if that's a good matchup or a bad matchup. We got a land, which is actually really good for us. We don't get to do much with it yet, but I'll just put down, play it out. And he has a Grove. He probably has, oh, he has Ancient Stirrings. I was about to say, if he put out the Grove first, I figured he would have, so here's his tower. And he has a map. So he's not going to have turn 3 Tron, but he will have turn 4 Tron. Well, this could be worse for sure. I'm going to suspend the Cloudskate, I think. Unfortunately, Reflector Mage is pretty bad against him. I mean, it's good against a Wormcoil Engine if that's what he happens to have, but obviously it doesn't hit Planeswalkers, which are a lot of his play-in. He plays Ancient Stirrings again. He reveals, please be a Wormcoil Engine. No, that's the one I want you to have. Ulamog. Okay, so Ulamog is coming down pretty soon, and that will probably ruin my day. This is ticking down. I draw another land. That's not the worst. I mean, it means I could have Panharmonicon down next turn. I don't think it's worth it to play Reflector Mage here and not hit anything, so I think I just play Mistmeadow Witch. If I play down Panharmonicon before he gets Ulamog down, obviously he will probably kill it, but that is the way it goes sometimes. He cracks this so we can have Tron online next turn, and we'll see what he gets with Tron. I mean, I'm a little interested to see. And this, how many counters does this have left on it? 2, right. So he Pyroclasms, sure. So he didn't have a big play there, but he's going to be able to crack Expedition Map and get something else big. This ticks down, and I think that's happening next turn. So he probably will just kill the Panharmonicon next turn. So that's really bad for me, but I don't think there's any other line other than to play it. Yeah, he cracks map here, obviously. And yeah, this deck is a little too slow and dirtily for Tron. I think Tron will win this matchup. I'm not convinced that this wet white blue deck is very good, but certainly, oh, he didn't even need to break the map because he had so much mana in hand. Oh, he had a handful of mana. Okay, this comes off suspend. There's no even really good targets for it here. Well, I'll cast it. I don't want to blink Ulamog because he'll just recast it and get other creatures. I don't really want to hit a land because it's just not very useful. Expedition map, likewise, not very useful. I mean, I guess hitting a land is the only thing I can do, so I'll just put a tower back in his hand, but it's not terribly useful. And I drew all 3 of my Titans, which were pretty much the worst thing I could have drawn, and I'm taking off white mana. I think I have to scoop here. If I had white mana, I might try it, because I could Reflector Mage, bounce him, and, you know, have some potential. Well, Ghost Quarters come in. Probably just over lands. I expect that he's running at least some Planeswalkers, so Negates might be worthwhile as well. I'm going to go down at least 1 Frost Titan. It was a little too slow, and 1 Mulldrifter, I think, likewise. It does help me a lot, but I also think the Magus of the Disc is too cute for this matchup. There's not enough creatures that it kills that it's worth it. A lot of them are indestructible anyway. Maybe that's right. It goes up 1 land, but I have a bunch more colorless lands that I'm going to have to just use to keep him off Tron, so... Fragmentize, I could see an argument for as well. He does run a bunch of... I guess it's really only good against Expedition map. I don't think it's worth fighting that. Reflector Mage is pretty bad, actually, so I probably... maybe 1 or 2, but I certainly don't want a lot of Reflector Mages. Frost Titan's probably better than Reflector Mage, even though it's not that good. It's just too hard for me to get up to that much mana. Yeah, maybe I have to do... I don't know. Fiend Hunter is not good for the same reason. Reflector Mage isn't good. He's running more Planeswalkers than creatures, and when he does play a creature, it puts me in a pretty hard position. I think I'll run it like this. I think this is fine. I just think I think this matchup is bad no matter what. Maybe I should put the Fragmentizes over in over the Reflector Mages, but it's not 100% clear to me. Unfortunately, this is an unkeepable hand. And I think this one we're going to have to keep, even though it's really bad. We just got to hope to draw land. That has to go to the bottom. Yeah, this is super awkward, but it's fine. It is what it is. We at least have the ability to take him off Tron. Unfortunately, we don't have enough mana to play any of our spells. I just don't think going to 5 there is worth it. Even though this hand does almost nothing. And then we drew one of the worst possible cards for us to draw. Just because we can't cast it. If we could cast it, this would be great. If we draw white mana here, actually, I don't feel so bad. Okay. So I'm probably priced into... I mean, he would have to have natural Tron, but I'm probably priced into Ghost Quartering the tower. I mean, I could Ghost Quarter the mine too, but I think getting the tower off the table is better. On the off chance that he does have... Oh, he has another tower. Alright, well, I killed the wrong one. There was no way to really know that. Maybe I should have gone after mine. Towers tend to be a little scarier. Hey, I got my white mana. Alright, well that actually puts me in a much better position at least. Wall of Omens isn't exactly the best card against him, but at least it draws me more, and it draws me a land. So I can Panharmonicon next turn. And then the turn after that, I can like Eerie Interlude and at least get a couple draw steps off of Wall of Omens if I don't draw anything else. Yeah, but I'm backed into a corner a little bit here. So he finds his Expedition map. So he's going to have Tron next turn. Yep, and missing that land drop, I think, probably lost me the game. I'm still going to slam down Panharmonicon. It's actually one of the harder things for him to remove. Karn removes it, but Yujin does not, and right now I don't really have anything that Yujin would hit. I mean, it hits Wall, but Wall of Omens doesn't really matter. So, there are definitely worse things for him to have. He has Karn, though, and he can also fetch another creature, probably like... Well, we'll see what he gets. I'm interested to see. He gets a Sundering Titan. Interesting. So that's going to kill 2 of my lands. Is he minus to kill a land? So he can get... No, he gets the Panharmonicon. Sure. That seems okay to me. I guess he can kill all my white mana. Feels pretty bad to Mulldrifter here. I just don't know what else I'm doing. I think I have to Mulldrifter to hit more lands. And if I hit a land, I can also play Mistmeadow. So, not ideal, but it's what I need to do. Sure. Mistmeadow. Actually, do I want that or do I want... I probably do want Mistmeadow. I mean, maybe it was better to play Reflector Mage against nothing there, but I suspect it's better to do this, and that way, assuming he actually plays the Sundering Titan, I can use a card from my hand. I think I'd probably just give him an Eerie Interlude. I have 2 of them. It is one of the more powerful cards in my hand, but I don't really need it. Okay. Expedition map, sure. Breaks it for another land. He gets Sanctum. No, he gets the tower. Alright. Sundering Titan, I assume? Because that's what he grabbed. Nope, he Pyroclasms instead, sure. And then he Worm Coils. Alright, so same basic idea. I get to play Wall of Omens and then bounce Worm Coil. I guess if I wanted to, I could play Reflector Mage, hold up Eerie Interlude, both to dodge removal spells on Reflector Mage, and I think that's probably better. So that dodges removal spells on Reflector Mage, and then also can bounce his Sundering Titan end of turn. Okay, he Ancient Stirrings, probably trying to find Ulamog. He finds a star. That's not so good. He pluses. I'll give him my Wall of Omens. That seems fine. Plays out Ghost Quarters. Eat mana, Sundering Titan, sure. Okay. Seems good. Sure, he can do that. Yeah, I'll find planes, keep them even. I guess I could have waited a second to do that, but it's not super relevant. Okay, guys, come back in. Hey, what do you know? Bounce your Sundering Titan. I mean, bouncing Sundering Titan is not the best play, but certainly there are worse plays too. Alright, I'm down to 2 lands. That's the downside, and he's still at full. I'm still going to play this land down. Attack Karn. I think I just lose the game. I think I'm ready to concede this game. I'm not going to win from here. GG. So yeah, I mean, I feel bad about that, but if you're playing a slightly slow deck, Tron will beat you. And this is, you know, this is a deck that's built to be super, super slow. So it's a fun deck, but you can do some neat things. But yeah, you're not going to win against, you know, turn, even though it took till like turn 4 or 5 to get Karn, because I had Ghost Quarters. I had a pretty bad draw myself, and my deck is just super slow. So turn 4 or 5 is when I start to actually do things. And a lot of my things are very creature interactive, which he obviously doesn't have creatures. So good game, opponent Makai 0890. And yeah, that's the way that match goes. See you guys next time.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. If you enjoyed this content, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/magicgatheringstrat.